The battle of the point guards, Dwight Howard versus JaVale McGee, and could Kyle Kuzma's career be in jeopardy if he is not in that starting lineup on opening night? Make sure to stay tuned because we have a lot to talk about today on Lakers Report by Chat Sports, all things Lakers. I'm your host, Hannah Kulik, aka Laker Han. Now, before we get into it and break this all down, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below so that you do not miss a single second of all things Lakers. And while you're at it, go ahead and give me a follow on Instagram at Hannah Rose Kulik and Twitter at Hannah_Kulik. Now, we are only a few weeks away from training camp, and I know a lot of people, a lot of fans, all the national media likes to make all of these assumptions and say who they believe is going to be in the starting lineup, who they think is going to get a majority of those minutes, but truly at the end of the day, no one really knows 100%, and training camp is the time when head coach Frank Vogel is going to be able to play around with the rotations, really mix players around and see who plays the best together. And truly, because the Lakers have such a new team, such a deep team, a team that's really filled with a lot of guys that are deserving of heavy minutes, it honestly could go anywhere. And we could see guys inserted into that starting lineup that we may have never even expected. So today, I thought we could kind of talk about this a little bit, talk about the battles that we are going to be seeing with these players who are all going to kind of be vying for the same minutes, both in the starters or just in the rotation at training camp. Now, let's just start off first with the first battle of the players at training camp. Let's start with this battle at starting point guard, because obviously the Lakers have a lot of players that could potentially be that starting point guard. A lot of people are assuming that it is going to be Rajon Rondo just because, you know, he's a savvy veteran. He has experience playing with Anthony Davis, experience playing with LeBron James, but I don't necessarily think this would be the best case scenario for the purple and golds, because I actually think that it would be Avery Bradley who would be the best case scenario starting at that starting point guard position, because as we know, having LeBron James in that starting lineup, he's already going to be that kind of de facto point guard, the primary ball handler. So we don't really need Rajon Rondo in there because Rondo's not much of a scorer. He's not really going to be doing much besides kind of being more of that ball handler and that guy just kind of racking up the assists. And with LeBron in the lineup as well, we don't really need that. Whereas Avery Bradley is a guy who is a great shooter. He's also a great defender. So we could have Avery Bradley in that starting point guard spot, have LeBron James still be that primary ball handler, but we also get Avery Bradley's ability to guard the other team's point guard, which is something that a lot of people are questioning if LeBron is technically going to be starting at that point. They are concerned that that could be a struggle, LeBron guarding the other team's point guard. But Avery Bradley actually getting that starting spot could solve all of those problems. Now, besides Avery Bradley, you know, obviously don't sleep on Alex Caruso. There was a chance that we could also see Alex Caruso inserted in that starting lineup if he gets into training camp and really plays well. It's been reported that the Lakers really value him. You know, he started off the season, or he ended the season last year strongly, and they believe that he's just going to carry that through to this season. So we could definitely see Caruso get some minutes at that starting spot as well. And honestly, that wouldn't be the end of the world. Caruso, if you're kind of looking at every single thing a point guard has to offer, from, you know, their defense to their assists to their scoring, Caruso may actually be the best overall guy that we could have in that starting point guard spot. So it's definitely a possibility we could see him get some minutes there. Also, Quinn Cook, there's a possibility that we could see him inserted in that starting lineup if he blows people away at training camp. Obviously, he played back for Golden State for 2 years. He was Steph Curry's backup. He's a great three-point shooter. He's a career 41% three-point shooter. He obviously has some, you know, playoff experience, some championship experience playing for Golden State. So he's another option that we could definitely see at that starting point guard if, of course, he really plays well during training camp. Now, I know, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people are just assuming that it's going to be Rondo in that starting lineup as our starting point guard, but I'm curious, do you guys think Rajon Rondo is going to be the Lakers' starting point guard? If you do, type Y down below. If not, type N down below. I personally don't think it's going to be the case. I know a lot of people are assuming it, but if it were me and I were the coach, Of course, a lot of things could change, but I would go with Avery Bradley because, again, we would have that scorer and we would have that defender. Now, our second battle of training camp here today, we have one that I'm very excited and curious to see how it plays out. We have Dwight Howard versus JaVale McGee for that starting center spot. Now, of course, as we all know, the injury to DeMarcus Cousins caused the Lakers to kind of take a chance and re-sign Dwight Howard. Howard, of course, was a Laker back a few years ago, didn't end well, a lot of drama. A lot of people were very surprised that they actually took that risk and brought Dwight Howard on, but honestly, I think it could pay off. Now, it's interesting because Frank Vogel has gone out on record and said that Dwight Howard has been told he's going to be having a very limited, minor role with this team, playing limited minutes, may not even see action every single night, but I personally don't buy that. I think if Dwight Howard is healthy, there is no way he is not going to be our starting center and be seeing a majority of those center minutes just in general. We have to remember that Dwight Howard is an 8-time NBA All-Star, an 8-time All-NBA player. He's also been a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's one of the best centers in the league. There was a time where he was one of the best players in the league. Obviously, his career has fallen off a little bit. He has a reputation of not being very liked, not being the best team player, but if he is able to kind of put his ego aside, play for the better of the team, and of course remain healthy, I truly believe there is no way the Lakers are not going to be starting Dwight Howard. Now, obviously, JaVale McGee believes that he is going to be the starting center for the purple and gold this season, and we all remember last season, of course, he did see some minutes as our starting center, and then when he got sick and he was kind of injured and kind of was in and out, we saw Zubac be inserted in that starting lineup, and JaVale was not too happy that Zubac actually kind of stole that starting center spot for him. So JaVale is definitely not going to be too happy if Dwight Howard ends up being the Lakers starting center, which of course, like I said, I believe he is going to be. So it's definitely going to be an exciting battle. It's going to be really curious. It's all going to start at training camp. Which player really proves that they are going to be the best option for the Lakers to go with on opening night? And while I assume it's Dwight Howard, if of course he's healthy and, you know, isn't this cancer to the team and is able to just kind of play for the better of the team, JaVale McGee may really take his game to that next level, really step up just to try to keep that center spot. So it's definitely going to be curious. This is honestly one of the battles I'm very excited to see, but I am curious, who do you think should be the Lakers starting center on opening night? Do you think it should be Dwight Howard? If so, type H down below, or if you think it should be JaVale McGee, type M down below. Now, I have a quick question. Do you guys have a FanDuel account? If you do not yet have a FanDuel account, go DM me on my Instagram or my Twitter right now, and I will explain to you how you can set one up. It is so easy. It is free. I am also new to FanDuel, and I am starting my own NFL league, and I would love to play with my Laker fam. So if you do not yet have a FanDuel account, go message me right now on my Instagram and or my Twitter, and I will explain to you how you can set one up and how you can join my NFL league. I would love to have you guys on my team. Now let's move on to our last and final battle, a pretty darn big battle, and honestly a battle that could really determine someone's career. For our final training camp battle today, we have Kyle Kuzma versus essentially the rest of this Lakers roster. Now, Kyle Kuzma thinks of himself as a future superstar. He believes that he can be, and I truly, honestly believe that as well, but truly, what it's going to come down to is his spot and his role with this Lakers team, because superstars are starters on the contending team, and if Kyle Kuzma is kind of delegated to the bench, takes more of that 6-man role, he's not going to be a superstar. So it really is important for Kuzma to prove himself during training camp, really prove that he has worked on that outside shot, that he is as good or better than he was shooting from 3 his rookie season. Of course, also that he improved on defense, and honestly just kind of proving that he is too good to be coming off the bench, and proving to this coaching staff that he has to be in that starting lineup if we want to be able to contend for a championship this season. Now, obviously, at the beginning of the summer, everyone assumed that Kuzma would be in that starting lineup. People assumed that Kuz would be that third option for the Lakers, but a lot of things really changed when the Lakers signed Anthony Davis, and as we kind of filled out the roster this offseason during free agency, because suddenly a spot for Kyle Kuzma was nowhere really to be found. The only way that Kuz could be in that starting lineup is if LeBron James decides to start at that point guard. Now, of course, that's also up to the coaching staff, which is why it's so important that Kyle Kuzma just blows everyone away this training camp. Now, if LeBron does start as our starting point guard, then that would, of course, free a spot for Kyle Kuzma. He could play at that small forward position, or I guess you could also say that if LeBron wants to be the small forward and then AD is our power forward, we could see Kuz get some minutes at the 2, but of course we have Danny Green, who's projected to be our starting shooting guard, so it really is going to be a struggle. But essentially, at the end of the day, if Kuz wants to be that superstar, you know, he's gone out and said that he is willing to accept whatever role the Lakers give him. He's fine coming off the bench. He just wants to do whatever is best for this team and help us win as many games as possible. Of course, he said that. Kuz always knows what to say, and he's a real team player, but truly, if Kuz is thinking about his future and his career, he knows it is extremely important for him to be in that starting lineup. All of the young players in the league right now who are projected to be the future superstars of the league, you know, the Donovan Mitchells, the Jason Tatums, even, you know, Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, they are all going to be starters on their team this year, and Kuz knows that if he wants to be in talks to be that kind of future superstar as well, he has to be one as well. So it is going to be crucial for him this training camp that he really just blows the entire coaching staff away and proves that he has to be so good that he has to be in that starting lineup. So it's going to be an extremely important training camp for Kyle Kuzma, as of course it is for really all of these players, because like I said, you know, the Lakers have such a deep team, a lot of guys who deserve to be playing heavy minutes, so it's going to be a tough task for new head coach Frank Vogel to really kind of put together a roster and give these guys minutes and balance everyone out and put together a team and rotations that he feels are going to be best for us overall. So training camp, like I said, is just around the corner. A lot to be fighting for if you are these Lakers, which I personally like, because I think, you know, a little friendly competition does the team good. It's going to make every single player bring their A game every single day. So I personally am happy about it, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. Out of all of these battles that I talked about today, you know, the battle at point guard, the starting center, and then of course Kyle Kuzma and the rest of the roster, what are you most curious for seeing during training camp, and what do you think is going to be the most important for these players to prove during training camp, and who would you like to see in this starting lineup? Just let me know everything down below in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this video today. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a double thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe here on Chat Sports and the new Chat Sports Lakers YouTube channel. Follow me on IG and Twitter as well. And until next time, Laker Han is out. Bye, guys!